Paltrocast now with Darren Paltrowitz. Get ready to listen to your favorite artists.
Paltrocast.
Hey, Damon, how's it going there?
I'm good. What's happening?
Thank you for taking the time today. Aside from having to talk to jabronis like me, how's your day going so far?
My day's really good. I got to take my son to school, which is a dream to be able to take him to school every day. And he had he had to build gingerbread houses, and I've been doing interviews all day promoting things that I consider my dream. So it's a great day.
Yep.
You know. Also,
well, do you get to?
Also, we just hit 20,000 downloads today on America New, my new television network. So
we're going to cover all of that, but I wanted to know, do you get to eat the gingerbread house after it's made?
Well, it's in the bag right now, so I guess we'll be able to eat it when he comes home from school when we pick him up.
Well, okay, so celebration after doing all this media coverage. So there's so many things to ask you about because, there's Dusko Poppington, there's the damn fashion line, there's the Black Guns, there's the TV network or the network that you just mentioned, there's decades of being a legend, etc. But we're here to talk about the Black Guns. How far back do the Black Guns go?
Well, we've been making records for about four or 5 years. What happened was I was trying to teach, because I've been working on this television network for about 13 years. And there's always been a music vertical that comes with it because we make the music for the network. And artists are around me that always want to, make music. So I'm like, look, if you're going to do music, you have to have a good show. So I'll be like, you have to, I don't allow anyone to perform over a track around me. After I did the record with the Black Keys, the Black Project, I got very snobby about things because I always had to be better than Dan Arabeck. You know what I mean? Like, he's a snobby guy. So I know the details of the respect, that vinyl respect, So I was trying to show them how to use the band, and they just weren't getting it. So I would have to show them, and it would sound good, but I'd be freestyling, and then it just sounded real good. And Cash, who I put his album out, his first album with the London Souls out years ago, and I consider him literally the best living, breathing guitar player alive. I don't think anyone's better than him right now, period. Have you ever seen Tash play guitar?
I've had the pleasure of interviewing Tash when he did his solo record about a year and a half ago. I mean, he nearly died, right? It's amazing what he came back from, that guy.
Look, he, you might want to go live. Let me tell you, he was in a cab accident, right? Yeah. Me and my girl was at the hospital. I saw his brains.
Ooh.
I saw him die. I cried. I couldn't believe how strong his family was because they just knew he was going to make it. Yeah. The doctor told us in layman's terms, he won't be able to wipe his ass for 3 years, right? So at this point, I'm just wanting him to be alive. But, I lost Biggie and Aaliyah, and they all had such potential. And I was crushed because I was like, the world's never going to see how ill he was. And he came back 3 months later with the Band-Aid on his head, with the blood patch. And, he came out of art gallery in it was called Poppington in Chinatown. And it was like my birthday. And he walked in and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was crying, right? And then he did a show the next month. And I don't know if you know who Taj Mahal is, the blues singer.
Oh, come on, man. You're trying to stump me again. I know the legendary Taj Mahal.
Well, Taj Mahal is my OG. That's my OG. And anything I do musically, I play it for him first.
Really?
So yeah. If I have access to a Taj Mahal, you think I'm not going to call the OG? When we lost the baby, Raquel and I, he arranged for me to have a crib in Hawaii right next to his and just sang the blues, man, in the moonlight in Hawaii. Can you imagine that? I was able to do that. So either way, Taj Mahal, he was visiting me at the gallery, and Tash was performing around the corner. And I took him over there, and he blew Taj Mahal away. And that's when I knew he was the best, because Taj Mahal is the smartest, most knowledgeable guy about music I know. So anyway, right. So when I started to do that with Tash, it's a thing where any second I get to hang out with him, it's almost like he died. And because he died and he's here again, I'm going to cherish that moment every second, right. You know? So when he would come around in LA, I'd be like, yo, come to the studio. And he would jam out, and then we just started making records. So we have an album called Therapy out right now that you could listen to, and there's like videos, and we did shows, and then COVID hit, and we weren't able to be as active, but we were able to go to Kanye's ranch and make all of his records over because I wanted to perform and broadcast it live from Kanye's ranch, but he wanted to run for president. But we got all of that. And, I reconnected with Freeway because through Freeway's defining moments, he's lost children.
Yes.
Losing kidneys and all this, all dialysis, all that. He still is the person that's on tour every day, and he's been fighting for education. He has this thing called the Freedom Thinkers Academy, and we reconnected through the OSG, Off School Grounds, which is hundreds of principals from economically challenged areas. And we were at an OSG summit in Colombia teaching, and he ended up performing, and I ended up on the stage with him, and it was like old Rockefeller. And, I have a project with Cameron out right now with A-Track called You Wasn't There. So I've still made creative projects with Rockefellers. Rockefeller will never die to me. And, and I always consider Freeway a rock star. So I was like, yo, I just started this network. I got American New Studios in Florida, 9 acres. Come out here for 5 days and let's see what we get. We got 10 records. We did the music video, which I directed. We had Daytwan from the Vibe magazine fly out and interview and do the cover shoot. Right. We did all the podcasts. And we designed all the merch. We developed the curriculum, and we did it all in 5 days. And we captured it all. Flew a chef out from Hawaii to make sure we ate right, and made a documentary. And this is a result of it,
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you there, but looking through your YouTube at the recent rant about Vlad with the street therapist and all that, or the doctor therapist.
You should go to my television network. You should check all that out. But Vlad's always on my talking shit about me, so I don't know which interview, because I always got to reply to some dumb shit that he said.
Yeah. Hey, some interviewers are nicer than others, and I'm aiming to be very, very nice and keep the compliments coming. Can I give you another compliment?
I'll take that. I like affirmations. I appreciate that.
Okay. So the first song I heard from the Black Guns was 365. And that reminded me of good original rock rap. And by that, I mean King of Rock by Run DMC, but also Judgment Night soundtrack, that kind of heavier rock. Were those among your earlier influences, musically speaking?
Yeah. I mean, I love The Clash. I love Death, the black group Death. We started doing a documentary, me and Mos Def started doing a doc years ago about that. We never finished it though. And I listen to all kind of music because people think I'm more on the rock and roll tip. Just like the Black Rock Project, I've always listened to rock and roll, all types of rock and roll. It's just almost like a hip hop and rock and roll. The beat, that punk rock, it's a lot of similarities to it.
Yeah, it was sampling the original beat. If you listen to the early Beastie Boys and Run DMC records, they were literally taking Van Halen and Kiss and the Knack and all that kind of stuff.
100%. And Method Man, a lot of his lyrics came from rock and roll songs that people don't know. So
yeah, when one of the times I interviewed Meth, I was wearing a Cheap Trick shirt, and he goes, "Great band," and you go, "Wait, what?" He's a fan of Cheap Trick and all the heavy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just because we love hip hop, that means we love all music.
Yeah.
And to me, Freeway's always been like a ZZ Top kind of rock star. I always looked at him like that. And the first record I made, Line 'Em Up, was inspired by a Freeway record called Line 'Em Up. Line 'em up, shut 'em down, line 'em. And he has one that was, and it was like my favorite Freeway record. So a lot of the rock and roll that we're making is inspired by hip hop records, just interpreted in a rock and roll way.
Yeah.
You know? But then when I talk to the Black Keys, their biggest influence was Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
So the rock stars' biggest influence are the hip hop stars. And if you talk to a younger white kid today, they don't know anything about rock and roll. It's so cool. So back in the day, I'd hang out with the white kids so they could tell me about rock and roll and things I didn't know. And now I'm telling them about rock and roll. And the black kids are wearing rock and roll vintage T-shirts. But to me, if you don't listen or never listen to the person that's on your chest, that is corny. So one time my daughter walked up with a Grateful Dead vintage Tallulah. Rocky made her listen to Grateful Dead the whole day. We were like, you're not going to wear the shirt and not know the band. So I think the younger kids want to wear rock and roll shirts, but they want to be connected to exactly what they're wearing. And as an older cat, I'm 52, I like to re-engineer things. I like to do creative stuff. So I wanted to do something that reflects me, my point of view, positive, but still feels gangster. So if you listen, 365, we made that literally in 15 seconds. Picked up the instruments and Freeway said 365, and I took it and ran with it, and the band went, and then we laid the vocals, and we documented the whole process, but it was magic. And that's what I do. I try to capture moments. Like, I don't like making a beat, and then the artist goes in, writes the lyrics, and then the first time they write the lyric, then they go record it, and that's what gets immortalized. I like to be able to, whatever you feel you say in that moment, you capture it. You might clean it up later, but I want to capture your original thought and energy, and I want it all old school. So we had the mic. I mean, we see the making of the first record. You'll see. So I don't want anyone to ever say we cheated. I just did a project, and that's going to be it with Maya, and I played the guitar the whole time. Not the whole project, just for one song. No looping, none of that. We're doing it straight. You see, with the Black Rock, we looped. Like we made it, we make it and sample it. I don't do none of that. It's what you get, you got to deal with it. And Freeway accepted the challenge, and the songs are incredible. Like, agreed. I can't wait to perform them. So what we're doing is now, I'm not going to go and get in front of a stage until we rehearse. And rehearsing isn't, doing it behind closed doors. We're doing a very intimate tour. We're going to do the first one at the Dojo in LA on the 19th. Then we were going to do the Cheap Shot, but it's too small in Vegas. So we're going to, what's the name of that, Nikki Licky?
We All Scream.
We All Scream.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to perform there. And then we're going to go to Lakeland in Florida on the 28th and perform at the Union. That's about 200-300 people. Then we're going to go to Detroit, Milwaukee, Gary, Chicago.
Yeah, Gary, Indiana, where the Jackson 5 came from. Okay, so your rock roots.
My brother, a good friend of mine, and he's my brother now, he was a senator out there. He just got elected mayor, Eddie Milton. So there's a lot of things that we want to do out there in Gary. And I think the world should understand how influential Gary is. The Jacksons are from there. The woman that signed the Beatles is from Gary as well. The first black political party was in Gary. The first black mayor was in Gary, So again, I think, and it's on a lake, it's beautiful. But I like to go with Chattanooga. We're going to go into Chattanooga.
Sure.
And that's going to be the warm-up tour.
Okay.
And so New York will probably do the Canary Club or something. But then we're going to come back, go into schools, and we're going to teach the curriculum on how to make a album in 5 days, put the album out, do all the assets independently, and we'll teach the people in a place of higher learning, the kids, how to make their dreams come true on their terms. Education is the driving force of this whole project.
Totally. Well, I got one more question or topic for you before I let you go, because you have been nonstop with press today, and I really appreciate your time. Last question I have, I'm dialing in from a town on Long Island called Long Beach, which is where Rick Rubin is from, MF Doom, other people related to hip hop, Public Enemy made a music video. Have you ever been to Long Beach, Long Island, New York?
No.
No.
I don't think so. I might have to fly. Is there a place we can perform out there? Let me know.
There is a place where you could perform. DMC did a talk at the public library earlier in the year, so it's pretty cool.
Book it. Well, how many people does it hold?
That library just holds about 200 people in that state.
I'm on my intimate. I want the rock and roll, and I'm broadcasting it live on America New. So things are different now. I have my own network. So I have my platform to do anything I want creatively and show it to the people. And I'm not sugarcoating anything. So I want people to see us warm up, because my plan is to do this at a festival. I visualize us doing this in front of 50,000 people in America at one time, and 50,000 people in Australia, Berlin, London. This is going to be an international thing.
So basically you're like Phil Collins at Live Aid in the 80s. Where you played to the 50,000 people in London, then you hop on the plane and you play to the 50,000 in Philly the same day because you can.
One of those.
I get it.
You don't see rock stars like that no more. And also, rock stars are meant to be like superheroes, Totally. Superheroes don't wear pajamas. They wear thermal shirts, and cool looking clothes, and they go out and fight for good. And they look like Batman, he's looked at as evil by some, but he's really a hero. I'm not Batman, I'm Batman. That's what I call Batman. And so we're superheroes by day and we rock stars by night.
I get it. Well,
don't you think Superman or Spider-Man, what you think they was doing it to hang out? Can you imagine they was rocking out, or they doing some cool shit? They're not doing nothing whack. They doing cool stuff. What kind of music does Superman listen to? I know what Batman listens to, the music he makes.
Well, Batman had a mansion, whereas Superman lived in a...
So does Batman. Batman has a mansion.
So I have to figure they had good speakers, therefore good music. There you go. Well, Damon...
You have good taste in people and good taste in morals. You should have good taste in music. I never see people with good taste in music. They're usually not bad people.
Amen. Well, thank you for the decades of inspirational contributions to music, to the charitable space and the philanthropy that you do, and really looking forward to what's to come with the Black Guns, with your TV network, with your fashion line, et cetera. Thank you for being you, Dame.
Thank you for listening to me. America New. And I appreciate everything you said. Everybody that's listening to you, check us out. Download America New. It's free. America NU. Check out the 365. Also, on just a little sneak preview, after I show you Black Rock and Roll, I'm giving you the White Fugees. So I got this project called the Off-Whites with Nikki Licky and Lee. And they're performing tonight at the at Jesse's, a nice little spot in Florida in Winter Haven tonight. So I'm always working on new stuff. New sneakers, down to these glasses, these CEO shades.
Paltrocast.
Mari, how is your day going aside from doing interviews over and over and over and over again?
It's great. I have a great team of people and they make me laugh and we're just having a really good time.
So in going over your Instagram, beyond all your credits and all that, there's the following line in your profile. Very Japanese, but very un-Japanese. Yeah. Couldn't you say the same about this series in a way?
Yeah, that's a really great point. I think so, because people talk a lot about how Godzilla and what it represents and how it's perceived is different in America and Japan. And I think in this series, the writers have managed to bring in both sides of the spectrum, I think. And especially for my character, she has a scene in episode 3 where the famous, Castle Bravo experiment, we add like a new dimension to that by bringing in the Japanese perspective of it. So yes, I would definitely say both things, we hold both things in this show, and beautifully so.
Now, playing Dr. Miura for this particular role, any special prep needed for you?
Special prep. I think yes. I think one of the things that I found hard was getting over my initial reaction to the character, because I had never seen a character like this, a Japanese woman like this in Hollywood, and I couldn't really wrap my head around it, that she was the center of like a love triangle, and also that she was this incredible adventurer in a way, scientist, but also she has this adventurous spirit, and she's fearless, and just all of the things that you want to embody. And in the 1950s, so all of it was just too good to be real in a way. And also realistically, I thought, could she have existed? And the process of doing the research and finding out that people like her, although in different fields, who got their PhDs in America in the 40s and 50s, that women like that existed, that gave me the courage to say, oh, like people like her could have existed, and I can play her with conviction. So
you weren't spending a lot of time reading medical dictionaries?
No, I wasn't. I was hoping that I'm a really curious person like Keiko, so I was hoping that that would sort of inform the way she interacts with the world, and how, smart people are curious, I think. So I think that was my approach, than trying to know everything that she would know.
Got it. And my last question before I let you go, all we really know about you is that you're somebody who works a lot and you're on the social media and all that. But what's the number 2 hobby or passion away from acting?
Ooh, hobby or passion? I love languages. So I'm learning Greek. I love the country, so I'm learning a bit of Greek, speak a little German. I love going to the theater. I play the violin. It's sort of like my meditation, playing Bach. So those are some of the things.
So you don't have any dumb hobbies, it sounds like. So
dumb hobbies? Dumb hobbies? What is a dumb hobby? No hobby is dumb if it makes you feel good.
Paltrocast.
Joe, Lisa, pleasure to be speaking with you both. I'll first throw it to Ms. Lasowski. Did I get the name correct?
Almost. Lasowski. Okay. I say Lasov, but we're good. I don't mind.
Well, thank you very much for your time. 2-part question. How are you? And how much of Duval is there in you?
I'm very good, thank you. So happy, obviously, to be talking about our show finally. So happy that it's out. So happy that we get to celebrate that, it's being well received. It's such a blessing, really. I feel very fortunate and proud to be a part of this. What of Duval is in me? There's always like an element of a character that is in you, because, it is what it is as actors. Like, you always bring a little bit of yourself. I mean, I have a background in dance, and I sort of feel like there's an agility to her, because she's this kind of action-driven person that I, thought was useful and I could bring. She's quite of a solo type of person. I mean, she has this relationship with Tim, and they work like a great partnership, but she also operates in her own world, like as a kind of like her own agent. And I think in some ways I feel a little bit like that, like in how I navigate personally through life. And then if there's anything else, I guess, there's a, I don't know. She's got a, well, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's I can't tell you.
They both like Darjeeling tea.
What?
They both like Darjeeling tea.
Earl Grey, actually. Earl Grey.
Earl Grey. That's right. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
They both like tea. We've learned that. Now, Joe, two-parter for you. Which
Yes,
tea
sir.
do you like? And then how much of Tim is there in you, the human being?
I like a chamomile or a chai rooibos if I can get my hands on. How much of Tim? I think of all the characters that I've played before, I think Tim is a bit closer to my natural self. I had a professor once talk to me about this, about the ratio, and sometimes it's 90% you and 10% something else. I feel like sometimes actors feel like I got to get this character, and it's just sort of like sometimes you're doing too much, and I identify with Tim like quite a bit. That just I think I'm smarter than I am, and maybe I'm a bit clumsy. We're both like schlemiel and schlemazel. It's like the person that spills the soup on and then slips in that soup or whatever it is.
Was that just a Laverne and Shirley reference you threw at me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well done. So obviously you're a pop culture guy, Joe. How much Godzilla was there on your radar before this?
Not much. I'd only seen the original like back in high school, and then once I've come on board of the project, I've been watching the sort of newest iteration and stuff like that, and going down the rabbit hole a bit.
And Ms. Lasowski, I said it correct that time, correct? Yes. Okay. Godzilla, what's your history with that?
Yeah, so, obviously, again, it's just been part of our pop culture for so long, and he's such an enormous creature, like, you can't miss it, But we were talking about this earlier, and I was saying that for me, like, growing up as a teenager, what I remember from the Godzilla movies were, like, really specific soundtracks. It's like every time a Godzilla movie came out, it just had like a great soundtrack, a bit like the Bond movies will have like a great sound, and I remember some of those as being like eventful somehow. And so it was the music somehow that I remembered. And then being part of this just kind of delved into that world and into that character a lot more. And I love it.
Now, you mentioned soundtracks. Great soundtracks. We got that weird Jimmy Page Diddy collaboration on one of those soundtracks. But what's
Cashmere.
the last concert that you went to? Joe, I'll throw that one to you first.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
What's the last concert that you went to for fun?
I went last night to the Minetta Lane Theater to see an Audible presentation of the Punch Brothers with Emily King and Jason Isbell.
So you're an alt country person, or just you like a lot of things in alt countries up there?
I do like alt country, but I cast a pretty broad net.
Didn't Emily King go to Harvard, or is that the wrong Emily that's Ivy League?
No, it might be another Emily King. But you should look up Emily King. She's an amazing musician. She's fantastic, and like I'll just say you're welcome ahead of time.
Paltrocast.
Hey, yo, check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav, and I don't disappear fast. Because right now, you are watching the Paltrocast.
Paltrocast.